Well, hello, Sunday afternoon, actually pushing Sunday evening about 5:30. Just thought we'd do a kind of a shop tour, showing you the messiest corner. I cleaned this place up some because I was embarrassed. Anyway, so the big checkout sign came from a store that I work at, and it's 1/4 inch masonite, so it will end up being templates. And then other than that, just got some junk stacked up there. Got a bent grinder on the floor there. Had that for years, and it fell over in storage. Had it on a stand, and it bent it, so it's toast. Bandsaw, sander, scarf joint jigs. They fit in the groove on the bandsaw. And for scarf joints, although I haven't used a scarf joint for quite a while, I'm talking about guitar necks. Scarf joints. Oh, by the way, yeah, Dane Nichols, Jonah Custom Guitars. Grizzly jointer. I think it was, I don't know, 54 inches or something. I bought it with the standard head in it because I didn't want to pay the extra money. And then I bought it and put it in. The Silex or spiral cut or whatever they call those things. I haven't changed them. It's been in there for a few years now, and I haven't rotated any of the heads. It still cuts really nice. You know, you usually have to read your grain really carefully so you don't get chip out, that sort of thing. I didn't have, I still look at my grain because it's a habit, but I really have never had it chip out on anything. My little compressor, back from my professional carpentry days. Actually, that was just to go in for one little thing. The big compressors over here. The shop I used to have, I had a humongous compressor that I did all my spray work with. But I moved out of a over 1,000-foot shop into here. Built this when I remodeled this house. 20 by 20. So there's a Grizzly sander, 36 inch by 6, I believe is what they call that. It's decent enough tool. I'm not happy with the belts. I probably ought to get belts from somebody besides Grizzly because they tend to want to thump on you, and I don't feel like that's doing a great job. So just clamping straight edges, clamps I made, bridge clamps, they, you know, similar to the Ibex. My father-in-law's draw knife I inherited here a while back. He had it for 100 years. Anyway, great tool. And Formica chains, also another flash to my cabinet making past. Lumber rack with just odds and ends. Hardwood. I see some wenge, some mahogany. I know there's poplar and teak in there. And up on the big racks, I've got, actually looks like Nara and maple, and farther down the wall, I know I have a good chunk of lacewood in there and some Spanish cedar, and then oak and poplar, not poplar, alder and maple. And then the fatter stuff here, still got a good sized chunk of sapelli left, and some mahogany down there as well. All this stuff down there on the bottom is teak that I had left over from building some tables. There's 100-year-old pole houses from Thailand that were reclaimed. Also have some teak back there as well. Those were doors originally. The one teak guitar I built, I believe it was from the door material. And so moving on, and I'll get back your ways. And I have the sanding station. And again, those are all Grizzly tools. You know, I should do an advertisement. Anyway, most of the Grizzly stuff I've gotten has been pretty decent. I did have a Grizzly shaper at one point that I had to rework the sides of the fence so they weren't square to the world, so I had a machine shop locally square those up. But as far as the motor and the spindle, everything was really solid. It was a 3 horsepower, I think it was 1 1/4 inch. Nice machine. So we got the 12-inch disc sander on the left. I tried to turn that. It used to have the actual Grizzly base. I tried to turn it into a floor sander of sorts for big tables I was building, but it wasn't reduction geared, so it just sat there and hummed. So I had built another table for it. I didn't like the Grizzly table anyway. It was a table you could adjust, 45 it more or less, and it was never really square to the world. Then the little random oscillating, there we go. Oscillating spindle sander from Grizzly. That's a tabletop unit, obviously. Great unit. Does the job very well. I really don't have room for the big unit or the money. That's what I wanted originally, was their floor model. As you can see, I have an old Craftsman vacuum under there, and that hooks to either one of these machines, depending on which one I'm using. I just switch the hose. The tunes up there. I have a radio. Can't, of course, I'm not playing it now because if a song that's licensed or something comes on, they wouldn't show the video on YouTube. Then there's a Grizzly drill press. And the only complaint I have about that is I need a smaller chuck for the little teeny bits, because they don't chuck up in there. About 1/8 of an inch bit is about as small as I can go. The little patterns back there out of particle board, those are made just for a Les Paul copy I did, and those are the layout for the carve, the routing templates for that, so of course I just hung on to those. Another blast from the past, edge banding for cabinet shelving. Built my own drill index, just a board with a bunch of holes. So didn't have to dig through stuff. Patterns of sorts up here, sanding sticks, that sort of thing. I don't know how long or boring I can make this. Probably pretty boring. I haven't gotten a lot of hits on the other videos, so I can only guess. Great way to make a sanding block is you take this is a 4x24 sanding belt for a 4x24 sander. You just cut the appropriate size block and then shove the belt over it, and it makes a great sanding block. Got backup for the spindle sander, belts and such. Got belts over here for the 4x24 belt sander. Got belts there for the big belt, 6x36. Where are they at? Headstock templates. A chunk of granite left over from my house that works for a nice flat surface if I need to hone things. I need to get past her and back up again. So the dust collector, the Grizzly dust collector. I didn't really think about this beforehand. This is going to end up being a Grizzly commercial. But the dust collector goes all the way around and down and picks up the belt, the joiner, and the bandsaw. And then it comes around this way, and just have a gate there, and that comes down and picks up just if I'm doing something. Or I have a couple stations. You can see in the foreground the hole for the table router, and there's one underneath the neck block on that broken guitar. So I have a couple places, and I just scoot the hose around to where it's needed, open the blast gate. Then we come on over to here, and this comes down to the double drum sander, also Grizzly. Wow, okay. I guess I don't have any real tools. There's a StewMac buffer that I used quite a bit at one point. Kind of trying to get away from lacquer finishes, so I haven't been doing that so much. Been doing oil finishes. Anyway, tool rack back here, all sorts of odds and ends, 5 or 6 different routers, sanders, random orbitals, palm sanders, 90-degree random orbitals, belt sander, skill saw, drills. Anyway, got my first chop saw. My real chop saw is out in the out in the garage where I keep all my carpenter stuff. Anyway, so go to this wall. Oh, real quick. Got a buddy of mine who was a bird carver. All that, it just looks like a pile of junk there, I know. There's another router, a little laminate trimmer. That dish that I built for the 15-foot radius, it turned out to be about a 7. And that pine, those big blocks of pine are clear sugar pine. And I have more of those real quick, not too quick, under my my little tech bench there, stacked up there in the knee space. Same stuff, that big blocks of pine. I'm going to build an acoustic guitar out of that at some point, or several of them, but I'm going to split some things and quarter saw, some top material out of it for sure. I used it for the bracing in the Formica guitar. Anyway, I got shelving up here where I've got the espresso machine I use for steaming joints. A big pot of water that I used to heat up metal coals and whatnot. It was double boiler. I was trying to make a steam pot out of that, and it didn't work. Got the neck clamp over there on the left that clamps around the guitar, acoustic guitars, to pop the neck out in conjunction with the steamer. Anyway, guitar molds, acoustic guitar molds. There's a telly body sitting up there. And just more templates. I think that's Les Paul stuff there. And then this is kind of a neck joint pocket template where it rides on those rails and for the neck joint. Anyway, those are Bridge Doctors that I did a comment or something. I didn't do a video on it, but I posted that I had made like 6 or 8 of those at one time. Just got in the groove. Anyway, so a non-grizzly tool. It's even worse. It's Pro Project or something, which is like the worst grade you can find, but at least it wasn't bent and wobbling like my Craftsman was after it fell. So a couple cabinets there that I pulled out of the house when I did the remodel and put them out here. And a little monitor heater for that time of year. Cubby hole with Allen wrenches and then all my pliers and whatnot in there. A little nut saddle vise from StewMac. The template wall. Fret wire. I'm going to back up again. So a couple different sizes of fret wire there. Guitar templates, my own body style. There's probably some telly templates underneath those. Pickguard templates, cavity, control cavity templates. There's a telly neck template. And a big chunk of wood on the left there right next to the fret wire is my neck carving beam. I basically clamp it down to my bench. And there's enough hanging out that I can get full access on both sides of the neck. The peg head clamps up on that end with the green tape. So, anything else I'm missing here? Well, not really. Nice window. I just pulled, I'll show you that real quick. I put this foam in the windows in the winter time, and just yesterday I pulled these pieces of foam out of the windows. So I got some nice natural light coming in. I got a Craftsman saw blade clock. What do you get the guy that's got everything, right? Oh, that's what you get. You get one of those. And so we're back to the tech bench thing. I went ahead and popped for the StewMac. I have a lot of StewMac tools. A lot of people rag on StewMac, and they might be a little more expensive than some things, but their stuff works. And if you ever have a problem, they just send you more stuff. They're a good company, in my opinion. Got drawer there for little odds and ends. Drawers here, got files, screwdrivers, planes, and 3 different drawers. In the top drawer I just have my small, it's probably going to be frightening in there, my small junk razor saw. all the little things I use for doing setups and whatnot.